A beautiful morning to you and welcome to the newspaper review right here at Prime Media TV. Ayo bringing you the news headline for today. And as always, I have quite a number of headlines to be reviewed with you today. First of which says 82 million Nigerians may go hungry soon. United Nations warned. So the United Nations has again predicted that 82 million Nigerians, about 64% of the country's population, may go hungry by 2030. And they are calling on the Nigerian government to tackle climate change, pest infestations, and other threats to agricultural productivity. So, according to the United Nations, they are saying these are the major factors that is aggravating inflation in the Nigerian economy. But then, in retaliation to this, the Nigerian government has said that they may likely suspend taxes on certain food imports to combat soaring prices in prices of food in the market. So there are strong indications currently as we speak that the Nigerian government may actively be considering a raft of fiscal measures to mitigate the worsening food crisis, which has pushed prices of food items beyond the reach of citizens and certain escalating inflation. So here is the conversation we'll be diving in today. And as always, I have my co-host with me who will be analyzing this session with me. Person of Nwachuku Treasure, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So I would like that we relate what is happening currently. The United Nations has highlighted part of the many things that is causing inflation in Nigeria. And in retaliation to this, the Nigerian government are saying that they would remove taxes on some taxes and import duties on some food produce I think maize and some other things like that. But the fact remains that the sectors that are truly affected in the food sector include those that are selling tomatoes, pepper, and all of that. They can't import all of that. So what they are saying that is that they are going to remove taxes on grains, some grains that we currently do not have, and all of that. Now let's relate this. Do you think mere removing taxes on these things will help to calm food inflation in the country? And secondly, how about the major things that people make use of? There is really no food you want to cook in the country currently that you will not make use of pepper and tomatoes. With Nigerians are devising other means of getting these things. So how do they want to cope these other things that Nigerians need beyond removing taxes? So let's have this conversation.
Okay, you see, coming to the tax removal, or rather, coming to what the UN are saying about Nigeria going through inflation or the increase of inflation by 2030, I want to say that it's not even till 2030 because we are already feeling it. Nigerians are already feeling it so hard currently. Now, about the measure the government are proposing, and also about what UN have cited as the cause for the inflation, those are actually not the real cause of the food insecurity or food inflation we are having in Nigeria. We have the case of insecurity, which has rendered so many farmers out of farm. Most of the states that focuses on food production are no longer productive as a result of insecurity in the state. Those things and is the primary factor that is affecting the food production in Nigeria. Many of the people in Benue State, in Kogi State, in some of these states where these things, people major into farming, have resorted to IDP camps as a result of attack. These things are the things that the federal government should tackle first. The primary cause, before you talk about, termites or whatever, the insecurity, how many people can confidently go to farm currently in Nigeria? Okay, so I want to believe that if Nigeria government is ready to combat, issues that borders on food and all that, it should be to tackle insecurity. Let there be deployment of the security agencies on these areas, in these states where these things are a kind of is on the increase. All right. Then coming to reduction or removal of import duties on maize and all that. You see, about a month ago or 2 months ago, they came out to say the same thing. Until now, it has not been implemented. It's a repeat of what they have said. What is hindering them? And on the other hand, maize, whatever, is not a thing Nigeria should be even importing. Rather, we should be exporting these things. We are blessed with with soils that that can enable us farm this thing, serve ourselves, and export to other countries. It's even a shame to say that among things that that import duty should be removed on is on maize and all that. How many people import all these things? Right. So if the federal government really want to combat the issues we are having in the country, is not these things are things that if we have the case of insecurity tackled in Nigeria, Nigerians can produce corn on our own. All these things we can even it can be a means of generating resources to the country. So not talking about removing stamp, those are not the main problems Nigerians are facing or the main factors affecting this food inflation in Nigeria.
All right. You know what the United Nations are saying? For me, they are attributing all of these things to climate change. That there's going to be high rainfall in between July and August. That the Nigerian government has to be proactive in helping the both small scale farmers and those that are producing in large scales. That they should help them to look for things that they can do to ensure that they're able to produce even during the rainy season, or they should produce things at a very short interval. Do you know that this is even the last thing that we should be tackling? This is the last thing that we should even be tackling. Why? Because it is not like there's no production of food ongoing in Nigeria. It is not like there's no production of there's no mass planting of tomatoes, pepper, and all of that. All of these things are happening. So I was listening to an analysis yesterday, and the breakdown is that these farmers produce, especially those that are into tomato pepper farming, they produce so much that the person was saying that they produce so much to the extent that after cultivation, they cannot take their goods, they cannot take their whatever they have cultivated out of the farm without first paying huge millions of nairas to bandits before they can take it out of the farm. So before farming, they settle these bandits. After farming, they settle these bandits. When they want to cultivate, they settle them in millions before they can take it out of the farm. So when they take it out of the farm, they said the interval of where the interval of where the farm is to where they are taking it to, there are over 300 joints, 300 police checkpoints, and at each checkpoint they pay 3,000 naira. Now imagine 3,000 naira multiplied by the number of checkpoints that they will be meeting. Let's say they meet like 100 checkpoints on the road. 3,000 naira multiplied by that 100 checkpoints, and they pay that amount of money per checkpoint. They pay that money before when they get to the market. Now, citing Lagos as an example, according to the analysis, when you get to the market you are going to, let's say you are going to my 12 market, before you can offload, you pay 300,000 naira. So you can imagine why the price of tomato is at the price that we are buying it in the market. By the time they calculate the millions of naira they pay to bandits, the thousands of naira they pay at checkpoints, the thousands of naira they pay at the market before it finally gets to those that will sell it, and they would want to add their own gain to all of these things, and then before it will reach out to the final consumers. So now back to what the Nigerian government are now doing, that okay, to ease food insecurity, we want to remove import duties on some of these things. And you have rightly stated that it is a shame that we are even importing some of these grains, because these are grains that we should be importing in the country. Sorry, we should even be
Exporting.
exporting them. Now, my question is that how many average Nigerians can afford to buy those things that they are removing import duties from? How many Nigerians can afford to buy? Currently in the market, a pint of maize is over 4,000 naira. So how many Nigerians can do that? Okay, even when they get the maize, let's say they want to use it to make they want to use it for their dry grain, dry flour, and all of that. They will need pepper and whatever to eat this meal. So if they remove import duties on that, how will they take care of the rest? So it is not enough to remove import duties on what is coming. The fact remains that even before it will get to final consumers, they will pay money on transportation. As much as they are removing import duties, it doesn't stop from some people from collecting money at certain checkpoints before the goods will reach the final consumers. So it is not enough to remove import duties. What measures are you putting in place to ensure that all other things are regularized?
You know,
At some point they were saying that they are giving Nigerians 50,000 naira for 3 months. How many Nigerians have received that money?
the truth of the matter is that in this government, you mentioned something about the checkpoint in these places where the citizens have to pay. It has now become banditry in Nigeria, has now become a norm that we now initially people hide to do these things. Sometimes we watch a movie where people kidnap people and they will mention certain location to go and drop the ransom. Now people now see the banditry, the bandits, and it's as if now they now I was reading a story yesterday on one of the social handles, and I saw a mass number of some people, they say, repented Boko Haram. How were they proven to have repented? These are in Nigeria now, banditry has gotten to a point where we see these people, we negotiate with these people. Well, we took a story here some time ago of a state where the bandits,
We're
demanding for 20 million, settlement from the farmers, and the villagers had to even share the money among themselves because they must pay the money. And we have governor in that state. In that local government, we have chairman. All right. In this place now, just like based on the analysis from the analyst you just mentioned now, these checkpoints, these policemen on this checkpoint cannot help to fight the insecurity in the state, but they are the point to get money from people.
Of course.
Now, on that same route where they are, these bandits pass through that route. But because they are more committed and concerned with what they get from the people, they no longer check vehicles. In fact, if you see them, and this thing is happening almost in every state in Nigeria, if you see the policemen, what they do is just the vehicle they will search are those they know that at the end something will come out from it. Okay, now, rainy season should be a blessing to farmers. But even in a place like Lagos State now, people now pray for heavy rain not to fall. Because when the rain falls, there is no proper, channels that will make the water to go the right way. So when rain falls in Nigeria today, it becomes a problem. It renders people homeless. People are now afraid when the cloud change now, currently in a place like Lagos State. So the government have failed in so many areas. The government has failed in so many areas. We shouldn't be talking now by telling the people you want to remove import duty. You are trying to encourage importation. The country has nothing that we are exporting aside from crude oil.
And to even think that we are looking at how we can strengthen the naira. So what we see the Nigerian government doing is that they are patching up the economy. They are truly, the agenda for them is renewed hope. Renewed hope means that you want to repair it, make it new again. But what we see the Nigerian government doing is that they are patching the economy. Because in this case, when they closed the border in the first place, what was the essence of closing the border? So to strengthen food production. When it is enough, we'll be able to export it. So now opening the border again now is you telling your people that we cannot afford to do what we thought we could do before. So, as good as it sounds, as good as they expect Nigerians to embrace this new change, it is still not the solution to what we have on ground.
at all.
The fact remains that even when you remove import duties on this thing, what if when they are bringing in these goods, bandits, terrorists attack some of the vehicles that they are using to bring some of these things? They attack them and take it away.
In
What do
Lagos,
you want to do?
in Lagos State now, once there are boys stationed at every post stop, once you see a truck carrying anything, entering any street, entering any place, they block, they must
Of
collect their money.
course, of course.
And nobody questions them. A lot of lawlessness going on at every point in all the states in Nigeria, and we seem to have, the authority. So the thing is that if we want to tackle food inflation in Nigeria, I said earlier again that 2030 is too far for what we are experiencing in the country now. This is 2024, and somebody is talking about 2030. Have people survived 2025? Consider a tuber of yam now, we know what it is.
Of course.
You talk about pepper, you talk about tomato. These are things that we don't need to import. These are the things that, before talking about people that are imported, let's strengthen. They say charity begins at home. Let's strengthen the farmers in the country. Let there be enough production. Even if we don't have enough to send out, let's have food enough at home. They say a man that can provide for himself and his family is not a poor man. Let's have food enough in the house that our people can be proud and say, yes, in as much as we are not exporting anything, but we are not hungry. So insecurity needs to be tackled. And this thing is now spreading.
Yeah.
It is spreading from the north to other parts of Nigeria. And if nothing is done, sincerely speaking, if nothing is done, a time will come that these bandits now can come to a whole state. Now, bandits give notice to a state, to a community, and say we are coming, and nothing will be done. So, what are the function of the police? What are the function of the armies? Where are they carrying out their duties? Where are they carrying out their duties? So, the Nigerian government should do something about insecurity, and I believe once that is done, the food issue will be taken care of, and all this extortion. Who checkmate these policemen in checkpoints? What are their duties? What are they supposed to be doing? Rather than making people are not looking for a means to escape them. People should be happy that the police are on the way. They should feel safe. But what they do is to extort money from people, collect money for people, and that is just what they do. So that needs to be taken care of.
All right. On a final note, as good as this decision by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration is, as good as this decision is, it is seeming to Nigerians that the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is trying to shy away from their responsibility. Their responsibility is to combat the major cause of food insecurity from the root cause, which is attributed to insecurity in the country, which is attributed to ensuring that there is mass production of food, and also working together with farmers on what they could do on the climate change that could affect production. These are major things that should be tackled, not only 150 whatever amnesty window on a removal of importation and all of that. Beyond removal of tax duties on all of these things, they should do the needful. On this note, we'll dive into another conversation. We'll be going on a quick break now, and as soon as we get back, we'll move into something else. Thank you.